Now we can watch. Where is it? Where are you? React. There we go. Now we can watch the greatest ISC of all time. Explosive decompression. Yes.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Inside Star Citizen. Our
Hello,
weekly
Jared.
look at the behind-the-scenes development of what my mother calls that video game Jared's making whenever she explains it to her friends. It's quarter 3, and if you've been following this show in any of its incarnations for a while now, you know that the road to CitizenCon is a very interesting one for our weekly video content, as we skillfully avoid all the hot topics being saved for the big, now 2-day event, and use that challenge as an opportunity to explore aspects of our development that might otherwise never get a chance to shine. It's an opportunity this quarter to look at how Rastar is being used to remaster existing UGFs in Alpha 320, to explore racing a little bit, and a new ship that readers of Jump Point magazine and our social media channels probably already know is on its way. An update to Claudius and how it's being used to create even more immersive environments heading your way, and then a spin around the whole VFX department to see what they're up to. Yes, Virginia, it's true. There will be fire.
You are all too stressed. I was told it's all out in 2 years, and I chose to believe. Dude. So, they've been saying that for fucking, like, since 2014. It's always in 2 years, buddy. It's the same, like, I already made this, that's like one of my first videos. My government here is saying, like, since 2000s, they were saying 2 to 5 years tops, you're gonna live better. Vote for us. We're gonna give you metro stations and all of that, which we don't have. We're gonna give you blah, 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 and the standard is gonna be higher. 2 to 5 years. Every fucking time. Are we living better? No. We're in the third world country right now. I'm living in a third world country. Serbia is that. It's the same with Star Citizen.
We can do all this and more as we navigate our journey to the big 2 days in October. But up this week, and my reason for sitting here at my desk, dumping just a little bit of SCL into our ISC, is to talk to Torsten and Jacob from the EUPU feature team about the prototyping process, how they test design and programming implementations at the earliest stages, and how it relates to Munching, an important component of Salvage, and my nightly routine just 20 minutes before I go to sleep. Torsten, Jacob, how you doing, people?
Doing good.
I am fine, thank you.
All right, so we are here talking about prototyping process. Before we get into it,
Before we start, like, why are your microphones so fucking muffled and bad? I never understood that. The music, like, we all know that the music is too fucking loud, but it wouldn't be that loud if there were some, like, highs in their voices. Like, I know that, like, lavalier microphones, those microphones that you pin, however you pronounce that they're not, like, great. I have a couple of those, but those that I have sound better than these. Like, what the fuck?
give me the top level, just the like the LinkedIn version answer. What is a prototype and why do we do it?
A prototype basically can have several facets in game development, and for us particular, it is always about gameplay, and in this particular case, it is about the technical. So the technical problems that we might face and we might have to solve. So for that, we always use prototypes, and playtesting those prototypes is a crucial part in game development, where it is mainly used to prove theories, where the theory is either gameplay is fun, does it technically work, and this is basically what the purpose of a prototype is.
Anything you want to add, Jacob?
Sure.
From more of a dev perspective, we tend to take what the designer's vision is for gameplay, and then we've got to figure out how can we achieve that in the game. And just as often, that's not crystal clear from the start, so we have to try a few things and see what technical hurdles might be ahead of us that we're going to have to consider for the full development.
So what we're going to do on this week's show, the first of our quarter 3 shows where things are a little bit different, we are going to look at a feature at the absolutely earliest stage.
Also, by the way, this oh, you can't even see it. Give me a second. Where's my cam? All right, so this thing here is like the stupidest thing that they ever added to Star Citizen. I swear to God, honestly. For a game that like loves realism and all of that, this is just like dumb.
This is earlier than
Honestly.
we've ever shown any feature ever, the prototype phase. What we're about to show you is not going to look good. It's not going to look pretty. It's going to be weird, poppy, and buggy. So we're just warning you ahead before you take the footage and put it in your YouTube videos. What is the prototype that we're going to look at right now, Jacob?
We're going to be looking at the prototype for Munching, the next tier of Salvage. The idea being we need some way to take apart a larger ship and break it into little pieces.
Here we go.
So that you can then pick it up in your salvage ships,
Brace
gain
yourselves.
some material from that, and you'll be able to sell that later. But we're going to be looking at just the breaking a ship apart phase, which is what we're prototyping here.
All right, so I got it queued up here. Let's take a look at this here.
Don't we already have
obviously
that,
this is a
like ships break apart? But yeah.
vulture approaching a gladius.
Yep. So for the prototype, we've added in a new munching mode, sub-mode to salvage. So all of that hull scraping UI has disappeared. And we're going down to just what we need for this prototype, which is the ability to break apart a ship, which at the moment is going to look exact.
This is not risky at all. This is not risky.
The same
for
as
you, with all the desync and all of that, it's not risky at all, right?
You blew it up with your guns, but in future, that would look rather different.
What's happening right here? I see the bar filling up on the left,
Okay,
but nothing's
so-
happening with the ship.
Yeah, so this is the placeholder for the actual gameplay that would happen here.
Yeah, explosions right next to your ship, not risky
Yeah.
at all.
The design will have some actual gameplay for what you have to do
And all those parts like separating and going in all directions, not risky at all for your ship.
as a player to break the ship apart, but we put in that little placeholder, which is just essentially a timer, a progress bar, based on how big the target is.
And that is actually on purpose, because the question that we are asking in this prototype are more technical. That means that we shouldn't focus on the gameplay aspect, so we should keep the gameplay as minimal or as simple as possible, and then so that we can fully focus on the technical bits of the prototype.
Okay, so we saw it. We saw it broken into some, what looked like normal debris, but now we got to break it into smaller, munchable stuff. So we'll go back to the video here.
So breaking it into normal debris is stuff that you've seen before, but when we have this bigger part, it doesn't come apart into more pieces naturally.
XX__ hole muncher. I fucking love it.
So in this prototype, we are just deleting the thing and replacing it with loads of tiny little placeholder pieces to act.
The fuck is this? Okay, so I saw this yesterday, and I was like, first of all, it does not resemble, let me open it, please. Oh, fuck off. It does not resemble this picture at all. Oh my goodness. Can you, yeah. How does it resemble this picture? Tell me. Secondly, don't you fucking think, CAG, that we already have way too many entities that are physicalized, that all have fucking physics to them, and you want to fucking add more? Are you being serious with this shit? Are you being serious with this shit? This thing is just gonna crash servers. Those are alpha particles, yeah. These are not particles. These are fucking physicalized like things. Like, why? Why are you doing this to yourselves? Are they just like gonna do this and then they're gonna like realize, oh shit, this is not working? Because this is crashing the servers. The servers can't fucking handle. Like, imagine a javelin, a fucking Idris that is being hole munched, right? Maybe they lower the player counts back down to 50. That's not going to help, dude. Like, imagine the fucking stress on the servers with the physics of a bunch of ships being hull munched. especially the big ships.
The munched apart debris.
Just add more shit to
What
bring
you're
the
also
engine.
seeing
Exactly.
is a prototype for how you will get those pieces into your cargo, which is a little suction field that grabs those little pieces, drags them towards the grinder in the mouth of the Vulture, and from there they're converted into cargo.
Those little pieces that we saw are obviously not arted and everything. I want to remind people again, we've literally never shown anything in a prototype phase before, so forgive me for reiterating this.
So why are you showing this to us now? And also that is not true because they already showed us like a bunch of things that were in the prototype phase with the same excuse. But sure.
2 or 3 more times before.
I don't know how long ago that they recorded this, but they were working on Hull Munching this whole year. And maybe even like start of last year or the fucking end of last year. So I don't know.
Done here. This is designer art, just small pieces to represent the kind of the mass and the size of stuff that we might be using.
It's even worse. It's coda art.
Yes, indeed. This is the programmer equivalent of a white box test, where I'm not even.
Wait, what?
Indeed,
They just picked up a couple of pieces and the thing is full.
This is the programmer equivalent of a white box test, where.
Imagine how many times you will need to go back in the into the back of the Vulture to like get your tractor beam out and just like, oh, and then like a couple of more pieces and then it's stupid.
I'm not even qualified to make white boxes, so I just rip off other assets that I found in the engine and just slap them together. So that's what this is.
And obviously, without being a prototype, there's no VFX, there's no explosions, there's no beams, there's none of the things that would mask this transition that would normally happen, so that you don't see the pieces just pop in, like they're currently doing.
Yeah, you mask it with like smoke. Smoke and mirrors.
All right, so that was done on your local machine.
I mean, it does look bad because it's a prototype. It's just like they found like a mouse, like a piece that is like that size that they want, and they just like implemented that.
You on your workstation doing a local version of the universe here. The next phase, as I understand it, is to test it in PU conditions. And we're going to go ahead and start this video because this video is going to go for a little bit. Tell me what we're doing here.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what we're doing and then we can discuss later why we're doing that.
Exactly.
What we're doing right here is I want to test worst case performance conditions. So I'm chucking in some console commands to load up or stream in several different landing zones at the same time.
All right, they're going to try it with the any jump. Amazing.
Because other.
If this works, like, I don't know. If they really release it like this and it works, I'm going to tip my hat. But, like, first of all, don't get too excited because this is nowhere close to being done yet or released. Not even in this state. Whenever they do a video on, like, whatever thing that they're working on, it's always... like, you always get it, like, a year or 2 years later. It's the same with, like, tractor beams. I remember, like, 2 years ago, I made a video, a reaction to ISC when they, like, announced the tractor beams and then they're, like, working on tractor beams for ships. And we're just gonna get them, maybe, this year. I don't know.
Otherwise, me as just one player on the server, I wouldn't really be loading that much. I wouldn't be stressing the server. So I'm going to stress it quite a lot by loading.
We already know that you can't... Oh, okay, active locations. So he's just activating the locations. You can't stress the server without having like people on it.
Up as many landing zones as I can think of off the top of my head, basically, until I see
There's like a joke. I'm sorry for pausing this much, but there's like a joke, like a coder's joke, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but like... a coder or a programmer programs like a bar, and he goes into the bar, he orders 1 drink, he orders 5 drinks, he orders 999 drinks, he orders food, and then he's like done. A player goes into a bar and asks to go to the bathroom, and the game crashes, or the program crashes, right? So you can't like this. This ain't doing shit, honestly. This is just not gonna like simulate real players playing the game.
Server FPS count go appreciably lower. And then only once I've done that am I going to step into the actual gameplay test.
I also noticed you've upgraded from a Gladius to an 890 jump.
Yes, because when I think worst case for breaking a big thing into small things, I want the biggest possible thing, which is going to require lots and lots of small things. So, yeah, 890 jump is a good candidate for that.
Okay. So...
Because it's currently the biggest ship in the game.
I'm just typing in some comments for the other recipients.
I mean, yeah, actual players usually find the most BS ways to break the game. Exactly. Like, did they think of attaching the fucking mother of all bombs onto a whiskey glass? They didn't. And that was like a thing that happened in 3.15 all the way to 3.18. That was happening. And it was like, I made a video on it, and because I saw another guy making a video on it, and I was like, shit, this needs to be fixed right now.
This video, because this was an internal video for, reviewing stuff.
Do you often use console commands to leave notes for people?
There are other ways, but it's the most convenient. So,
all right. So we've got the server simulating PU conditions. All the landing zones.
Wait. So let me see. FPS is 14.9. Nice. What's his ping? 129 milliseconds. Where the fuck is he? Server FPS 6. Okay.
Loaded at 1.
No, it's jumping too much. It went to like 20 and then like it went down to 7. It needs to stay at like 4 to 6, 7 max for this test to fucking work, but sure.
Instead of streaming in and out like they would normally would.
Yes.
So it's actually.
I'm still gonna say, even though it's shit, these are the perfect conditions.
We're going to see that immediately. That this breaking the ship apart that we saw work so nicely.
At least when it comes to
editor,
Star Citizen.
Well, I've really annoyed the server here because all of these pieces are, popping in a not so great way, and I make a bit of a sarcastic comment about it in the console.
It's important to create these conditions, to test these things, not just in ideal conditions, not just the ideal universe of your own computer, or even the PU when it's like first loads and nobody.
Sorry, Jared, but these are the perfect fucking conditions because there are no players around doing their own shit. Like how Munching another 890 jump.
He's in and everything's great.
No, indeed. What I'm testing here is worse than we would hope it ever to be. We don't want it to ever be this bad, but we got to test it because it might be.
All right, so here's where beams would be shooting out, starting to break the ship apart.
Yeah, there'd be extra gameplay here, there'd be VFX or whatever. But in the editor version, we saw pretty much as soon as the big piece disappeared, all those tiny little bits turned up. Well, it's not going to go that way in this situation. We're going to be waiting quite some time for all those little pieces to turn up.
Gotcha. And so while we're waiting for those pieces to turn up here, let's talk about what we learned from what we've learned from these tests so far. Obviously, there's some performance stuff, but there's also some gameplay implications from what we've seen. Torsten, you want to talk us through it?
Well, I can talk about some parts that we learned from. Right.
Sure.
So the best thing that you can learn from a prototype is actually everything that goes bad, because this is the stuff that you can then iterate on and make the gameplay or the technical stuff even better. So from the gameplay perspective, so I will just talk about the gameplay stuff, and Jacob can talk about what we learned from a technical perspective there. Is from the gameplay we learned that what about big ships? So how, for example, now you saw the Vulture trying to attach to the 890 jump. That is a bit of a wonky situation and it doesn't feel right. So what about Vultures actually munching bigger ships? So how can we make that an interesting gameplay? Then you saw in the first video what happens when the ship transitions into the smaller bits. So the masking is a huge...
Wait, are we still waiting for the A90 jump to like spawn in all the bits and pieces? Is that what's happening? Like, I know that this isn't live, but they're talking like it's live.
topic
Sure.
that we have to solve so that it feels right and you don't notice that one element pops away and another element pops in. So we definitely
Every fucking game does that. Battlefield does that. Fucking every game does that. Even Minecraft does that. You just have like smoke and mirrors. You have smoke, explosions, poof, and another model or debris loads in. Every game does that.
definitely have to mask that. Then what you
Of course.
might have seen in the
That's
first
like the easiest part.
part is the conversion of materials. I don't know if you paid attention to the filler station bar that basically fills the
Yeah, we
SU
have.
crates in the backside of the Vulture, but that filled drastically faster than it would normally do with hull scraping. That means that
Why would you hull scrape?
it would be more painful for you to munch because you have to stand up from your seat more often, go down to the filler station, remove the boxes. So this is definitely an issue that we then have to solve
Oh,
because
that's
we
funny.
really don't want to have this.
And you know what I said when they fucking released the what's up for Ranjix? When they released the Vulture and hull scraping and all of this shit, even for the Reclaimer, I said that this is just plain stupid. Like, it needs to have a production line sort of a thing that just like moves the payload around, and that's it. Or you need to have like a tractor beam somewhere inside the ship so you can sort out everything from the seat, from the pilot seat. Like, you going downstairs for every 2 crates is just stupid.
This gameplay to be more tedious than it's has to be.
You mean than it is right now in the game?
So we have to find a solution how we can make it
Sure.
more like much nicer for the player to actually remove those crates there. Then the navigation around the pieces is also something that we notice isn't that fun. So we will probably utilize the track.
Yeah, it is a justification for multi-crew, but like, you have multi-crew and then you have multi-crew. You have like doing it right or doing it wrong, and they did it fucking wrong. Even in the Reclaimer. On the other hand, you have the Vulture, which is a 1-person ship. So what fucking multi-crew, right? I don't know, but sure. What a great idea. Then you fucking complain on Spectrum, then you tell them, like, dudes, what are you doing? And then you have, like, J3PT and the other guys defending them. Until they themselves realize that, like, most of the community fucking hates this because it's just stupid.
Beams there because we are anyway working on them. But
When have they not done it wrong, though? I don't remember like, this is doing it wrong. And I have a fucking example how I can just show you right now. So instead of having like those millions of fucking bits and pieces flying around, being physicalized, colliding with each other, and making a mess of the servers, you know what Space Engineers did fucking 15 years ago? This is like a video from 9 years ago. So it looks like shit. Space Engineers looks better now. The graphics are better. But fuck it. So this is supposed to be large ship grinder. Okay. So this is how they grind, or this is how you salvage. I don't know if the music is copyrighted, so I'm not gonna use it. I'm just gonna have this music in the background. So you have those, where is it? Those blocks, because you make everything in this game. You make your own ships, you make your own like stations and bases on planets, because there's a bunch of planets, etc. It's an amazing fucking game. You should play it if you're not playing it. And you attach those, this is like creative mode, so you attach those grinders, those blocks to your ship. And what they do, because the graphics are not phenomenal and as good as in Star Citizen, sure, you activate them, and then you get to the broken down ship, and you just like, okay, it looks better now, but you just start taking materials from the ship until you destroy the block, and you gathered most of the materials from the blocks themselves, which Star Citizen could have done easily. This is not like another example of how they could have done like the grinder inside the reclaimer. You can just like, because you have that like claw, you can just like grab something and toss it in the back. It goes into the grinder pit, and it just dissolves whatever is inside. But no, they just wanna like, these are the materials falling in. He just made it to like, so he can see, or so you can see what's happening. But yeah, like, why make it easy and gamey when you can make it fucking complicated, right?
Maybe that makes it much easier for players instead of flying around and getting the pieces
CryEngine
between
can't
the four.
handle voxels, right? So in Space Engineers, the only thing that is voxel based is are the planets, because you can mine and all of that. You can like terraform the planets. The other things are basically like just in Minecraft. So it's not voxels, it's something else. I forgot the name.
Of the vulture and then having it disintegrate, but instead you pulling the pieces in with a tractor beam. The fork of the vulture is very limiting in terms of what pieces will fit. So this is also something we learned. And
oh, we designed the ship before we had a feature, therefore we didn't know how to make the ship, so we made the ship to look nice, and now we have no idea how to incorporate the feature that we have, or that we're working on, to work with the fucking ship that looks nice. Isn't that familiar, guys?
the big thing is, which already is standing out, is how can we make it fun and unique for the reclaimer. So we just were looking in the prototype at the vulture, and
CAG
the big question that
did not account for hull munching when they built the ships. You know what they also didn't account for? Fucking component salvaging. Try taking the components out of the fucking Sentinel from the cockpit, size 2 freaking boxes through a small door. Good luck with that. Try taking the components out of a Carrack. All the way up and then like downstairs, like down the fucking ladders. Size, 3 components through a small fucking door. Good luck. Not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. So, did they take account of like anything? Do they know what they're doing? No. And some people would say, well, they're like learning as they go. That's not how you do it. That is exactly why we are on the 12th year of them working on the fucking game and us having nothing. Do you know how many times they changed the, what are they called? Hover mechanics? 4. Are they good? No. Do you know how many times they changed the 1SU size of the box until they like standardized the box? I think it was like 3 times. And some old ships cannot transfer or couldn't transfer those boxes because fuck it, we didn't know the size, right? Why didn't you know that when you said that like the economy and transferring and like cargo hauling and all of that is a really a really fucking important aspect of the game? Why didn't you like figure that shit out first and then made the ships? Well, you know, like we had to sell ships to make money so we can make a game. And then we go into a fucking loop that never ends.
that our team was asking in the end of that prototype was like, okay, how can we facilitate the claw and the uniqueness visuals, or the uniqueness in general of the reclaimer, to actually facilitate that gameplay and have it stand out,
like this
and
claw
be meaningful.
looks
and fun.
fucking amazing, and it's not gonna work like this. Like, no fucking chance that it's gonna work like this. If they show me right now where this piece is going, I'm just gonna end the stream.
And so a lot of gameplay,
And delete my
gameplay
channel.
implications from
They're not going to show
just that
us,
little
right?
prototype.
No.
Jacob, what was your takeaways?
From the tech perspective, I'm looking at things like the performance and also just what am I going to have to account for to achieve the designer's vision here? And I know that we're going to want things like the time that it takes to destroy something to be somewhat proportional for its size and mass. But from the initial prototype, I could already see that a bigger piece taking longer. It already takes a few seconds with the Gladius. If we're going to scale that up and scale up the time as well proportionally to a big target, we're going to have to think about what equation are we going to use for scaling that, so that it doesn't take you ages, like sitting there for minutes to break something apart. I got to think about how I'm going to hook in the visual effects and the audio. What dependencies am I going to need to get involved?
Speaking of judging time, the entity system is taking a little bit of time to spawn all the spawn debris. We've been talking. This is still going at the moment.
Really? That happened like fucking 5 minutes ago in the video.
Obviously, there's going to have to be some optimization work there with the entity system.
This is a kind of...
No! There doesn't need to be an optimization with the fucking entity system. You just don't need to, you don't do it like that. You're doing it in another fucking way. That works. That other fucking games solved it already. There are other shit that you can do to make it work. And it's gonna be, fucking great for us, the players. And for you, the developers. Because it's easier. For example, the Space Engineer's Grinder. Or shit like that. But no.
What we've got with PES.
Please do spend another fucking 3 years fixing or optimizing the entity manager for this shit to work.
Is that it's not quite as quick to create entities as before we had PES. And
sure. So does that mean that PES is not the thing that we waited for? Are we going to wait for something else now for optimization of the PES that's going to be called fucking NES or whatever? So you can give us server meshing so we can get pyro and all that seizure warning? Yeah, I'm going to have a seizure.
We have all sorts of great stuff that comes with PES, so this is just a small limitation that we have to learn to work around. But it tells us that gameplay ideas that we had before PS might need some adaptation in order to work efficiently in the post-PES world.
So yes.
So the whole point of the video is that there was no point on them working on this because... Is that what he said right now? That they can't do it right now? They can't do it like this? It's just not going to work? Or... does that mean that they're going to still continue pursuing this idea of it working like this, even though it doesn't fucking work?
This is kind of...
I don't get it.
What we've got with PES is that it's not quite as quick to create entities as before we had PES. And we have all sorts of great stuff that comes with PES, so this is just a small limitation that we have to learn to work around. But it tells us that gameplay ideas that we had before PS might need some adaptation in order to work efficiently in the post-PES world.
So speaking of which, let's go back to the video. I think we're about to get the entity spawns now. Any second, this has been playing in the background while we've been talking.
Here any moment now, yes.
There we go.
There we go. And a bit of a flicker as they come in, but they're finally here. So, yeah, this tells us, well...
Fucking amazing. This is exactly what, So, yesterday I saw the video. I skipped to this part, the first time that they spawned these entities, these small entities. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And I was expecting this. I did not expect them to show their failure, because this is a fucking... what is this? Oh, you know what? We're just going to optimize it. Why? Why do it like that? When I found Grumpy Eye about a year ago, that is what I learned. Star Citizen is simply a poorly managed project. management of time, management of fucking resources. Instead of doing it the way that like some other games did it, but having like their own twist on it. No, we're gonna fucking just like, we don't have enough entities, guys. Maybe we should spawn more entities when we like break up a ship. Jesus
In
Christ.
this worst case scenario,
See you in 3 years when they fucking release this.
this performance is obviously unacceptable.
2
We're
years.
going to have to do something about this. So we are thinking
Of course it's
about
unacceptable.
how can we change our
Jesus.
approach, how can we optimize what we've got, discussions in various different directions. But this is a key takeaway from this prototype, because
Warrant munching incoming.
if it had gone differently, if we tried this and the pieces turned up in just a few seconds or so, then we'd have known that this approach on the whole was probably acceptable, and with a little bit of
Look, how am I a fucking musician and a producer and a YouTuber and a streamer, whatever, and I know this shit won't fly, this shit won't work, and you as fucking programmers that are working on the game for the past 12 years, maybe not this guy, but like a bunch of them, how the fuck do you not know that this shit is not gonna work? Like, how does that... I'm speechless.
optimization, it'd work. But that's not what happened. The stuff took minutes to arrive, and that means we have to do some more serious rethinking about how we're going to approach this.
The vision and the
Sure.
basically the acceptance criteria our directors define, they are still untouched, right? So those are still to be fulfilled, and even the overall vision that we as the team defined for how that gameplay should play out, those will be like, those are already set in stone because we all agreed on those. But how the actual gameplay then plays and feels, this is still affected by the prototype. A prototype like this is really perfect for stepping in early and making sure that every tick box on our acceptance criteria is met, and we can make a better gameplay out of it.
I think we all have a real desire and responsibility towards testing these things as often and as early and under as much duress as possible.
Early.
As we work.
My dude, I've been doing YouTube for almost 2 years or maybe 2 years. Doesn't matter. I have gotten gray hairs in my beard. In 2 years. You've been fucking working on this project for 12 years. And this is early for you. Or maybe you mean like early in the development of this feature. Of course, because like, who thought that this is gonna work? And like the whole fucking video is basically an excuse of why hull munching is gonna be delayed, and why it's not gonna delayed because we never know when anything is gonna come out, right? But like, why? We saw it on the progress tracker. We knew that they were working on it, but like, why is it not out yet? This is the video that just like, oh yeah, well, see, we had an idea. It wasn't a good idea. Therefore, we're just gonna make a 19-minute video of like whatever. Why it was a bad idea? Why didn't you fucking think of it first before you even went into the whole like hull munching project? Space Engineers already has hull munching. I already showed how it's done in Space Engineers and how fucking glorious it can be.
Work to stabilize the PU and make it a more enjoyable experience going forward. So
it's a glorious
Torsten,
beard, though.
Jacob,
thank you.
Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You know what else like stresses me out? They did all the animations, like all of this shit. Even though this is basic, like you just see the claw, you don't see anything else. The other animation, where is it? Where he was like sleeping in his in his bed. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? Oh, here. So, did they really rig up a guy and went to the like mocap studio just to make this shit?
Big target. We're going to have to think about what equation are we going to use for
Just to
scaling
make this
that
scene here.
so that it doesn't take you ages, to like sitting there for minutes to break something apart. I got to think about how I'm going to hook in the visual effects and the audio.
You know they did, right? You know they did.
What dependencies am I going to need to get involved?
Speaking of
So they're spending more time making these like funny little bits and pieces on ISC than like making the game itself. T-shirt suits you. Just chill. Yeah, I know. I wore it on purpose today. I wanted it to be a chill stream. I tried. I failed the first minute.
This week? Well, we learned that prototyping doesn't really look like much of anything, but it's an essential step towards proving out design and performance before all the artists and other devs go in to do their thing. That it's just as important to prove out good ideas and good paths to take as it is to encourage developers to seek out another way towards success. And that it's important to continue refining not just the features and content being made, but the very way that we test those things, earlier and earlier, and under a scale of duress. For Inside Star Citizen,
I love when somebody's talking to me like he's talking to a child.
Jared Huckabee. Thank you for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
Thank you, Jared. Goodbye, Jared. Bye until next week. Red Dead Redemption 2 already has tying up players and NPCs. Yeah, you know what other game has that? Fucking DayZ. But yeah, so this, you know what? Since I didn't like post anything on my main channel in a while, this might as well go to my main channel. So I'm just gonna do an outro real quick, which you guys hear, main cam. So thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons for supporting the channel. If any patrons are left, I'm not sure. I didn't check in a while. I wasn't here for 2 months. If you want to support me, it's down in the link. Maybe just wait and see if I'm actually gonna be like streaming again and posting videos, because yeah, you can see how like stressed out I am with like Star Citizen and all of that. You can follow me on what is this, TikTok? No, don't follow me on TikTok. I don't even fucking use it. But yeah, merch. There's merch and all of that. And yeah, thank you for watching. And what was the quick catchphrase? Don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space. And mwah and bye.